As armor technology has progressed, with the advent of composite armor and ERA, tanks have become increasingly more protected from the front, rear, and sides, capable of withstanding greater threats. However, there have remained a few vulnerable areas that have not improved much over time. Most people think of the optics, but the cannon, which on the surface is a strong metal tube that fires high velocity tank rounds under extreme pressure, is also surprisingly included. When a tank gun is fired, the projectile is pushed by an extreme amount of propellant gases. If, for example, one breach occurs, it would decrease the velocity of the round significantly, therefore, the round will have reduced accuracy and may not hit the target at all. Even small bumps in the barrel could cause uneven pressure, further decreasing accuracy, and if this issue is ignored long term, it could cause a barrel rupture. Generally, tank guns can withstand autocannon fire and nearby explosions from mines, but this is less true when an explosion occurs close to the barrel, for example when a missile hits the turret or the hull from the front. So in the 1980s, the Soviets decided to see how much of a threat nearby explosions of heat projectiles were to tank barrels. In the experiment, 125mm BK-14M rounds and 115mm BK-4M rounds were used. A real tank was not used, however a mock-up was constructed and a 125mm D81 gun was used. Rounds are then fired at the hull below the barrel, and the R value represents the distance from the impact zone. The R value ranges from 0.4 meters to 1.3 meters. At 0.4 meters at the front sections of the barrel, BK-4M caused a penetration, and BK-14M caused a 1mm bump. Now, you may be asking, why did the 125mm BK-14M shell do worse? After all, it has slightly more explosives and is a larger shell, so it should perform better, no? Well, the difference in explosives mass is less than 10%, and the smallest shell of the BK-4M allows smaller fragments to be created, which means more penetrating power as each fragment carries more energy. At 0.5 meter distance, on the middle sections of the gun, there is still penetration of the same size for the BK-4M and the same bulge for the BK-14M. The back sections, however, remain undamaged. At 1.3 meters, there was also no damage. In the last test, a ceramic protective layer was added to the gun, and there was no damage, even at 0.4 meters from either shell. Even a small bulge or hole would require repair, and depending on how extensive the damage is, the barrel may need to be replaced. An external steel shroud could help with protection, like that on the Khar or the KF-51, but it would need to be significantly thicker to provide adequate protection. A ceramic coating, like the one in the experiment, could be used, but it would have to survive high temperatures and be lightweight.